Hi team. So today we are going to see how the reasoning of news with DeepseekR1 looks like. And what we are going to do is we are going to set up everything locally using Ollama and dev containers. So nothing will go outside. And the reason why we are analyzing news articles, especially merger acquisition news articles, is if you are a M&A analyst or equity analyst, you want to know the reasoning of the news or what could be the outcome which can impact you. So that's the reason we are going to go beyond only news analysis. We are going to get through the reasoning of the news, what could be the impact, and so on. And one of the another exercise which is much more deeper than just passing the news to a reasoning LLM model is finding out all these similar news on the same topic and giving it as a context using Bing API. So we are going to use Bing API, and what we are going to do is we are not only going to pass the news, but some extra news which might be redundant and so on, but might be very much relevant or identical, and we are going to see the impact of it and how does it look like. So basically we'll be grounding by more relevant contextual news. That's what we are going to do. So first scenario, simple news. Second scenario, news, very identical news using Bing API. Those are the two scenarios which we are going to see. And the code will be available in Git repo. So let's get started. So here is the first scenario. And before going to the first scenario, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a small walkthrough of what exactly we are doing. So we are using again dev containers. And what happens with dev containers is you specify exactly what environment you have to use. So the advantage is if you are on Mac or on Windows, what you can do is you can install everything on a Linux. That's the advantage which we have. So basically you can run Debian and then you can install all the things on that. That's what we are going to do. So we have something which is already set up, and the most important file is install dependencies. And what it tries to do is once your Docker container in form of Debian or Linux as such is already available, then what you can do is you can pull Ollama and install it and run it. So that's what we are going to do. So basically, once you instantiate or copy this from Git repo and start using it, what is going to happen is you are going to download Ollama and going to install the Ollama along with all the requirements, for example, all the Python packages. So that's what we are going to do. And once you are done, you are ready to go with the notebooks. So that's the next step. So here I am for the first scenario where I'm just going to pass the simple news, merger acquisition news, I would say, to the DeepseekR1. And the model that we are using is using Ollama. And Ollama has couple of distilled model, and we are using the most smallest one, which is 1.5 billion parameters. And that's what we are going to use. And the reason why we are going to use this because again we just wanted to see exactly how does it work like. And again, if your computation requirements are more, definitely you can go with a bigger sort of model, or you can use the APIs directly. So that's you can do. So here is what we have done. So we have installed everything which is needed. Post that we have uh, invoked everything that we wanted to do. So we need Ollama as such. That's why we instantiated this. Then what we have done is we have written one specific utility function to get the raw response. Now I'm going to explain it what happens. So in any sort of reasoning model that we try to get output from, what is going to happen is we'll see the output as well as we see something called reasoning steps also in form of think tags. So it gives you the answer, but before that it also gives you the rationale for it. And maybe we need that rationale, maybe we don't need it. So what we have done is we just segregated using this function. So we have the whole answer with reasoning, and we have only the answer without any reasoning. Both are there. So that's why this function is there. And what we are going to do is we have just very simple instruction prompt that you are an expert in merger acquisition. Can you provide a brief summary of the following news article? So we'll be sending it a news article and we'll be seeing what is the response. If you see the model here, it's DeepseekR1 1.5 billion parameters model. You give an instruction prompt and then you pass a news article to it. So you are saying with this news articles, follow this instruction prompt. So here is the first news article, and what we did was we passed a merger acquisition news again. Nissan Motor Company is prepared to reject an acquisition offer that would make it subsidiary of Honda Motor Company, according to a person familiar with the matter, and so on. And then what we are doing here is we are getting two responses. One is the full response along with the reasoning, and another is the answer without reasoning. Again, derived from this utility function. That's what we are going to do. And we are going to see the response. So once you give this news article, let's see the reasoning as well as the full response. So this is the full response. So if you see, this is think tag ended by, again, think tag as such. So if I go little bottom, you will see this think tag. So this is what the reasoning it is, and this is the final answer. So it gave, reasoning of what exactly it's trying to do. So it says, okay, so I need to provide a brief summary and so on. And it mentioned something, and then it gave a answer. So answer is Nissan. Again, we are printing the answer again without reasoning in the next line. So Nissan has decided to reject an acquisition offer that would make it subsidiary of Honda Motor Company, potentially delaying or destabilizing discussions about a potential merger between the two companies. So again, good response. It actually, I would say, it just paraphrased the news article. So that's what happened. And there is another news article, which is TVS Holding Limited has announced the completion of the acquisition of, this much percent equity stake of, HCIF Private Limited for this much crore. The remaining is by some other company, and so on. And when we passed it to this, it gives full reasoning. Okay, I need to summarize, so on, and it gives the final answer. The final answer is TVS Holding Limited has completed the acquisition, this and so on, with purchase by this, and so on. So this is pretty simple scenario where we are get the reasoning also. And again, the use cases could be you can, get the reasoning of what you want to infer the news or what the LLM actually wants to infer the news. Now switch to the second scenario. So here is the second scenario, and this is little complicated. So what we are doing is we are passing the same news article, but we are also leveraging Bing API to cover same news uh, on the same topic and giving it a little bit more context and wanted to see the answer. And the reason why we are going to do is rather than only passing the news, if we have some extra bit of context, again, I don't know how it will come from, but definitely web is a very good source, then maybe it is going to improve the reasoning. That's the theory. And definitely there might be some problems because what is going to happen is if you pass a news article and you again give identical news, definitely there will be a redundancy. But let's see what the answer comes from this. So what we have done is, again, for this exercise, you need to have Azure subscription account with Bing search services already available. So I already have it. So I need to have Bing search subscription key. Again, you can replace this with something else which fetches news for you, but I'm using this. So what I do is I pass a query to it. Again, it could be something about that particular news, and it is going to fetch 4 news articles which are latest. So essentially what it is trying to do is it is fetching 4 news article for the topic which I have given here, which is param query. So that's what it is going to do. For example, if I give it news search of Nissan Motor Company merger, it is going to give me 4 news articles. Again, I have just put it into this format because I need to pass it to the LLM in some format. So that's what I'm going to do in this particular function. So anything which is there goes to Bing, comes up with this format. Similarly, there is another news topic, TVS Holdings Limited acquires this one, and it fetches, it goes, and it tries to give one liner summary of news, four news articles which are there, latest four news articles on the same topic. So that's what it has done. And again, as I said, the reasoning is, rather than only passing news, can I also pass these four news articles and see the response? So that is the thing. And there is a change, obviously. So rather than only passing the original news articles, now we are passing this array of news articles, and the rest remains the same. So we are just trying to, find out using the same instruction prompt that we use. Let provide a brief summary using this news articles and this context, obviously. So what is going to happen is, let me see the answer. So if you see this, this was the answer, which was Nissan has decided to reject an acquisition without Bing search. Now, once I pass it to Bing search, again it do a thinking step, and at the end the response comes, and let's see what the response is, and let's say compare these responses. So with no Bing search, the Nissan has decided to reject an acquisition offer, and so on. And if you see this one, it is also saying almost the same thing. Nissan Motor Company is preparing to reject an offer that would be subsidiary of a potentially jeopardize talk between the two car makers to join force. According to personal family of the matter, this would move the hamper potentially between the companies. Now, again, I would say I like the second one little better, although there is no difference between both of them. But yeah, I like the second one little better. So this is what's going to happen, and let's see what is the response for the second news. So without Bing API, the answer was TVS Holding Limited has completed acquisition and so on. But with Bing search passing the same news along with a topic which fetches four news articles, the answer comes with obviously reasoning, and then the final answer comes like something which is like little bit more, which is TVS Holding Limited has announced that completion of its acquisition and so on. At the time of acquisition, this has happened, aligns with a broader strategy to expand into various sectors, investing heavily in financial services, aligning with the company's vision of becoming India's leading financial services entity. Now, again, both the answers are, I would say good. This is, I would say, more brief answer. The Bing search one, it tries to expand a little bit. Again, it's not as short as first one, but definitely I think depth wise it is better. Again, it's pretty subjective. One more pointer, if you rerun it multiple times, definitely this answer will change, which is there. But yeah, this is one way to, add some more contextual information and see how the results look like. So that's it for today. So that's what we did. So we explored using Ollama, installing DeepseekR1, and then we tried to get the reasoning for the particular niche with Bing API and without Bing APIs. So two scenarios which we covered. So hopefully this is useful. So thanks team, thanks for watching. Bye.